Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Weeylite RB9. It's a small portable LED light that has some pretty cool features. I'll talk you through the build quality as usual, and then we'll talk about the functionality of the light and the quality of the light itself as well. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how you can win one of these. Do you like the animation there? So I don't know if you've clearly noticed. So I figured I'd do this intro, but I wouldn't just show you the product, hold it in my hand or something. I would recreate it in 3D. So I modeled the light in 3D and then rendered about 2,000 frames in a sequence, and then imported them into After Effects to create this little effect here. Tell me what you think. Anyway, let's get on with the review. Okay, so let's talk about build quality real quick. It's not a huge amount to talk about really. It's good, and you would expect it to be good. Lights, before I show you lights at this stage, really these LED lights and these peripherals, build quality isn't necessarily the differentiator. It's the quality of the apps that go with them, the software, the firmware side of things, and the quality of light. So I'll show you anyway. I mean, the quality of the LED light is very good. It's a full metal body construction. It is solid with no flex. It's made out of aluminium, and it is very rigid. The styling is really nice. I don't mind the branding on the back as well, and there is an OLED screen. So you don't need to connect it to an app or something to use it. You can just control it purely from the device itself. So saying that, there is an app, and I'll talk you through that shortly as well. So build quality, there's a 1/4 inch thread on the bottom. There's a 1/4 inch thread on the side as well for mounting on tripods or various different adapters. In terms of in the box, you get a diffuser. It's also a rubber silicone material, and that just slips over. You get a USB cable, and you get this, which is quite interesting. So what is this? Okay, it's a phone holder, I'll tell you. It's a phone holder, and then also on the top there, it allows you to attach the light to it. It also comes with a small tripod as well, and then that just attaches to that. Now, why? There's a simple answer really, I think. Anyway, this is my thinking. I think the manufacturer's thinking about how people might be using these lights in 2020, 2021. It's not just creators, it's not just people in a studio environment or photographers that are using these lights. It's people at home that are doing video conferencing and video calls and Zoom calls and things. So having a phone holder and being able to attach the light and have that sort of all-in-one video conferencing system with better light makes sense to me. But also creators are using phones more and more nowadays as well to create content. So that's a nice little added extra. The only other thing that you get in the box is this small pouch. The quality is good. It's separated into two parts, so you can bring not only the light with you, but also the accessories as well. So overall build quality is very good. It's a solid piece of kit. I've used it for a couple of weeks now, and it's not a scratch on it, and I don't use a case or anything like that as well. So overall, yeah, very good. Okay, so let's talk about features now. I think nowadays it's not enough for manufacturers just to differentiate themselves by saying, hey, we've got a better quality light. I think build quality and the quality of the actual light coming out of these devices are pretty good and fairly uniform nowadays. So when it comes to being able to stand out from the crowd, they have to do something different. So let's talk about features. I'm going to talk you through, actually I'm going to show you now some of the lighting modes and talk you through some of those. If flashing lights affect you in any way, then you may want to look away for the next minute or so, and that's going to start now. Using the app is simple. You're able to control multiple RB9s if you want at once. You have the ability to select presets, but you can manually change the color temperature to suit your shooting conditions. In HSI mode, you have full RGB control. The colors seem pretty accurate and strong. One big test I always find is how these lights represent the color red. Often it's a bit sort of desaturated and they fall short, but it's nice and strong and looks pretty good. You then have scene mode. Now you've got some cool effects here, which most of these lights have nowadays. You can control the speed of these scenes along with the brightness. I'm not sure how much you would use them, but they're pretty fun. It would be great, however, if you could record your own scenes within the app. That would add another level of functionality. Lastly, we come to the party trick of the RB9. Now, when I talked about differentiating yourself from others in the market and it not necessarily always being quality of the light emitted, because that's pretty uniform nowadays, we're up to a certain standard. You think about features, so they've clearly thought about one feature in particular. Now everything's got a battery in it nowadays. Your phone, your camera, your power banks in abundance, laptops, everything, most things require some form of power. And of course the RB9 is rechargeable. It has a 3000 milliamp hour battery, enabling you, I think, a couple of hours worth of battery power at 100%. But they allow you to connect a device to it and use it as a power bank. Now, you're not always going to use that, but it will certainly come in handy in a pinch. So I've got this in, I don't know if you can see, in power bank mode there. One test I did, and I'll do now, is I can connect up, for example, my charger for my XT4 batteries. So I've just done that, and you can see that it charges that up. Now, so when I talk about features and extra things and differentiating and that sort of thing, it's with stuff like this, that's super handy. I mean, you're not going to use that all the time because you want to use the battery for the light, yeah. But there's going to be a situation when you've got these lights, or if you're out and about, or you've gone for a hike or something like that, you're on location and your battery dies in your phone, or you realize you've only bought one battery for your camera or something like that. Having devices like this that can transfer power between them is golden, super important, I think, nowadays. And yeah, more and more devices you can see. Mobile phones can now transfer power between them. There's phones out that can wirelessly charge other phones. So, it's a trend, and it's a good trend because everything requires power. So a nice little party trick from the RB9, the fact that it can also power other devices. I want to just quickly talk to you about something called CRI, Color Rendering Index. That acronym you may have seen attached to lots of spec sheets of LED lights and things on the internet. It's a sort of loose indication of the quality of the light that comes out of it, that's emitted. Now, it's compared to the equivalent in daylight. So what I mean is that if you had a picture of a tomato, for example, and the color temperature during daylight was whatever, and it looked however it looked, how well does that light then replicate that color temperature and that quality of light in a studio setting outside of daylight? So the vibrance, the saturation, and the color, how does it affect it? The higher the CRI index, so the CRI, the better, the more accurate to the color temperature that you've chosen and the color representation it's going to be. So yeah, God, it's a big subject to look into it. I just wanted to touch on it real quick. When you're looking for a light, you want a CRI of at least maybe 80, 85. Really, anything below that is pretty garbage, and you won't be getting an accurate representation of how that object should look under that light. 90 is really where you want to start, in all fairness, and any studio quality light will be at least 90, and then obviously higher than that the better. The RB9 is 95, so in terms of the color index, it's very good representation. I've used it for a few studio things and also client stuff as well, and been very impressed with how it replicates and represents color, daylight color, of all temperatures in a studio setting. Okay, final thoughts. Well, would I recommend it? I'm just trying to think now. So I was given two of these, full disclosure, I was given two of these. And a friend of mine, Chris from Chris Watkins Media, I'll link his channel down below, actually uses one of these. I think it's an aperture light, and we used it for a shoot on a Tesla, and we lit the inside of the vehicle with it, and it was super useful. It added that accent, and it was it really just kind of elevated everything. And I think that's the general theme with these sort of lights. They're really good for adding accents and just elevating stuff to that next level. So now that I've got one, I wouldn't give it back. I want it. I want to keep it. I'm going to keep it. So build quality is on point. The features are on point. The app works really well. You can control like 8 of these. I think you can control more, but you can control like 8 of these simultaneously, all doing separate things or the same thing with the tap of an icon in an app, which is super good. So build quality is good, the features are good. Overall, for the money, it's very, very good. If you're in the market for this sort of thing, then it makes a lot of sense. There are competitors, there are lots of these lights around, but this does differentiate itself with a few key features that you won't find anywhere else. So yeah, overall pretty good. I would recommend it. Had I not been just given one, I would eventually buy one anyway. I'm certainly in the market for one. Thanks for watching the video. You want to know how to win one, right? So I was given, just so you can see, I was given 2 of these. I'd like to keep 2, but I'm going to keep 1 and I'll give you the other. How you can win this is by doing 3 things for me. 1, like the video. 2, subscribe, because I hope that you like this sort of content and I'm giving you something useful and interesting anyway. But the 3rd thing, and this is the really important thing, is that I need you to leave me a comment and let me know how you're going to use this light, how it might affect your photography or your videography. I want to know in what setting you're going to use it. Are you just going to use it in your office because you do video calls and you need that extra bit of light? Or do you do street photography or studio stuff or what? I just want to know how you're going to use it. So leave me a comment. So like, subscribe, leave me a comment on how you're going to use it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed creating it. I enjoyed making it. I'm a graphic designer, so I quite enjoyed 3D modeling the light originally and doing it for that intro. That was quite fun. I'm always trying out different things, so hopefully you can follow along through my next videos as well. Sorry, I forgot to say, in terms of the winner for the light as well, it will be announced in the next video that I create. So that's why it's important that you do the subscribe thing, because it will be announced then. I'll also put the winner in the description here as well, and I'll leave a comment and bump it up so you can see it. Yeah, so it'll be there. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll see you again. Cheers.